news of Diogo Jota's death has prompted an outpouring of grief in Liverpool and around the world. As the day goes on, we're seeing more tributes from his teammates. Alexis McAllister says he can't believe it, adding, "I will always remember your smiles, your anger, your intelligence, your companionship, and everything that made you a person." Darwin Núñez says there are no words of comfort for so much pain, and his former manager Jurgen Klopp says, "This is a moment where I struggle. There must be a bigger purpose, but I can't see it." talkSPORT's Stuart Pearce has shared his similar experience from his time at Manchester City.
Mark Vivian Foe was one of our players and lost his life on a football pitch, and the impact that had around the football club, in the dressing room, with teammates, is just immense.
Liverpool legend Danny Murphy expressed his sorrow at the news.
Heartbreaking. I was shocked, like all of us. We all love football, Jim, don't we? We all have a passion for it, whether winning, losing, who our team should sign. All seems to become a bit irrelevant. It puts things in perspective when you hear news like this. It's just absolutely heartbreaking for everybody concerned.
Gareth Roberts from Liverpool supporters group The Spirit of Shankly says Jota's effort and spirit endeared him to the Anfield faithful.
I think you could see that in the fact that, his song was one of the ones that was sung the loudest and the longest every week on the cop. And that was because there was a bond there. That's because we saw something in him that, was our spirit fed back to us almost.
But Jota didn't just make a mark at Liverpool, winning the FA Cup, League Cup and most recently the Premier League. He was much loved at Wolves, where he went from securing promotion from the Championship to playing in Europe with them. Former Wolves keeper Matt Mills remembers not just the player, but the man that he was.
I just looked on my phone there. I've got a picture of him with my little boy and his mates. I was outside Molineux. They'd just beaten Wolves. He saw me, and he hadn't seen me since he left. Comes over, takes time with my little boys and his mates, has photos, and that's a measure of the guy. He was an amazing person.
You can read all the tributes pouring in for Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva on our live blog at talksport.com.
Yeah, good evening and welcome to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT. I'm Jamie O'Hara. Alongside me tonight is ex-Chelsea defender Jason Cundy. Now, all day on talkSPORT, we've been reacting to the tragic death of Liverpool forward Diogo Jota, who sadly passed away in a car accident earlier this morning. Liverpool fans, football fans, we're going to pay tribute tonight. We're going to take some calls. If you want to phone up and talk about the fantastic player, family man and person that he was, please give us a call on 03717 22 3344. We'll touch on other things as well. Adrian Dunham's going to be joining us to look ahead to the Lionesses' first game against France on Saturday. We'll get a fallout from the day 4 of Wimbledon as well. Jack Draper got knocked out in the second round, but get involved in the show. It's obviously a very sad day for everyone involved in football and throughout the world, but we're going to pay tribute to the amazing man Diogo Jota is. Jace, tough one, matey, tough.
Good evening, mate. Good evening, everyone. Yes, today has been one of the days that you rarely get in sport, and you hardly ever get in football. To lose a player of Diogo Jota's quality, international, Premier League winner, won the UEFA Nations League not long ago, Premier League, 28 years of age, alongside his brother. There are no words, Jay. I've since I woke up this morning. In fact, the first person that told me about it was you. When I woke up this morning, you put it in the sports bar group.
I couldn't believe it.
When you wake up and you hear that news, I had to check it. Not to say that it's like you said, something like Diogo Jota. I can't say what you said, but then you've got to go on social media to try and find out what happened. And then I checked it again, and you're looking for multiple sources is this real?
Is this actually happened? Yeah.
Is this real?
I know, I've done the same thing, mate. I've done the same thing. I was in a group chat this morning with, woke up with all the ex-Fulham players that I used to play with, and I got up to do the school run, and first thing I woke my eyes up, look at my phone, and it's someone obviously putting there that he'd sadly passed away, and again, I've done the same thing. I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't believe what I was.
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. I was like, no way, this can't be true. And you go look, and it was, before it even really come out as a story. And then all of a sudden it becomes true. It gets around, and you find out that it is true. And Jace, I have to be honest, mate. It's really affected me today. So I've really struggled to come to terms with the fact, just because of what his family, his children, the amazing player that he was. He feels like the person that he was. I loved watching him play football. First and foremost, I know I'm a Tottenham fan, and but I loved him as a player. I loved just watching him be on a football pitch and what he'd done on a football pitch. So it's just tragic news. We've both been football players. We've both had that life of having all the adulation in the world at your feet, and just such a sad, terrible day, mate. And I sat there this morning and thought, how do you come on a radio show and talk about it? And I think the only thing you can do is try and pay tribute to and celebrate his life, and talk about how great he was as a person, his moments in life, the things he's achieved. And look, it's obviously a terrible situation, and I can't get my head around how sad it is.
No one can, Jay. No one can.
You just don't see it. You just don't. It just look. It happens. I know it happens, and people sadly pass away every day. But you just, Premier League star. You just don't see it happen.
The thing is about footballers that we hold them in, and we all do it. I'm a football fan. You're anyone listening to this. Most people listening to football fans. We hold them in such high regard, and because they represent us. But the thing is, we watch Diogo Jota. You haven't got to be a Liverpool fan to appreciate him. You've not got to be a Liverpool fan to appreciate Liverpool. You've not got to be. You can just appreciate who he is, who he plays for, what he does. Yeah. And we've said it many times, Jay, and analysed him as a player, what he does, and his ability in the air. That's the thing that when I had time to digest, and that I'm still digesting it now, is the one thing that struck me about him. If someone said to me, just describe Diogo Jota, first thing I say is, for his size, he was unbelievable in the air. The amount of headers he scored. That was the thing that I'm thinking, well, he wasn't big boy. No. And then you kind of, again, diagnose or certainly look back over what he was as a player. And he was an integral part. He had injuries. So that was something that I'll look back again about how maybe his career at Liverpool, or certainly the amount of games he started, was stifled by the injuries. I remember, you think about this player. Yeah. Because I haven't got his stats. I haven't got, I follow him. I follow many footballers. We both do. Yeah. But the thing that struck me is how brilliant he was in the air, and how he was kind of stifled with the injuries that he'd had. Now, he would have had more minutes. But I remember goals he scored. There was a goal, I can't remember what it was. He just danced through the middle of the pitch. But then you move away from football. And when you move away from football, you then talk about the human side of it. Because we hold footballers in such high regard, they're just like, footballers are just humans. They're just us. And we worship them. They represent us on the pitch. Yeah. And it's hard to comprehend even now, and that someone of his tender age and have achieved so much, and of course it's been revealed that he was wedded, brother, plus his brother. The tragedy it's there are no words, Jay. No. I'm finding it hard to find the words about what.
It's unimaginable pain for everyone involved, and I can't imagine the pain that his family's going through. And obviously, me and you, everyone at talkSPORT, I'm sure everyone, wants to send their condolences to him. And look, I really do believe that we would, want to hear from Liverpool fans, Wolves fans, Porto fans, the teams that he's played for.
And Portuguese, anyone Portuguese now? We've got World Cup next year. Think of that. Think of that. How.
I know it's terrible news, but I want to try and get some people to come on and talk about him and talk about him in such a fantastic light and the great man that he is. We have obviously had tributes, of course, have been pouring in throughout the day here on talkSPORT.
Diogo Jota Jota's got one back for Portugal.
Devastating news, even for us. I mean, it's like we lost somebody we knew for a long time. It's a month ago we were Diogo was in the Portuguese national team who won the Nations League.
I'm completely numb, I'm still shaking, because just can't believe,
Cristiano Ronaldo has just said, doesn't make any sense. Just now we were together in the national team. Just now you were married. To your family, to your wife and children, I send my condolences and wish them all the strength in the world. I know you will always be with them. Rest in peace, Diogo and Andre. We will miss you both.
Yeah, Liverpool forward Diego Jota tragically died today in a car accident, a tender age of 28, alongside his brother Andre Silva. The accident occurred in the early hours of this morning in the Spanish province of Zamora. He leaves behind his young children and his wife. He's married just 11 days ago. Former Liverpool midfielder Danny Murphy joined talkSPORT earlier today and paid tribute to Jota following his passing.
But he will be remembered so fondly for the goals, for the creativity, for the humility. Supposed to be a great lad. I haven't met him, but I've got friends who work on the staff at Liverpool who speak very well of him. I suppose the best judge of a man really when they have setbacks. He's had a couple of really bad injuries. He sometimes isn't in the first 11, and what does he do? He comes on. He works tirelessly. He comes up with important goals. He plays for the team. He plays in any position he's asked. I don't know what the lads think, but when you see that attitude of a player, it tells you a lot about the man, I think.
Yeah, obviously Danny Murphy played for Liverpool, and he graced the midfield pitch at Anfield, and he's going to be a sad loss for every Liverpool fan, for football fans in general. He's a terrible, terrible tragedy today. Let's go to Billy. He's a Liverpool fan, right, Bill?
Hi, Billy.
Bill? No, Bill not there? Bill?
Hi, mate. Hi, guys.
How are you, Bill? You
Hi,
okay?
Billy.
Yeah, not bad. Obviously, today's been just shocking, really. Although you don't know the person as an individual, you feel that you do know them because you share those kind of magical moments. I was at a conference today, and the person next to me who I didn't know said, "Are you a football fan?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm a big Liverpool fan." And he just showed me his phone. And I said, "Are you joking?" I said, "Look, although that's an official website," I said, "Is that real?" And he said, "Yeah." And it was just heartbreaking. I mean, we all know him as a footballer, but I mean, he's a father, he's a son, he's a brother. It's just extraordinary. And the outpouring of emotion from football fans all around the world, not just Liverpool fans, was just touching today. But I mean, it's extraordinary. I mean, how do you lads feel? Because you've obviously been in the professional.
Look, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know him. I didn't play against him, but I know football, and I know being in a group of players. I know, having the world at your feet, having the enjoyment of success and what you create and what you strive to do and make as a footballer, and having your family support you through everything, and your wife, your children looking up to you as the man that you are. And I honestly, I found it very difficult because you think about your own children, you think about your family, and yes, it's obviously it's a terrible loss, not only for his family but for everyone, for the football, for Liverpool, for the players and everything they've had to go through. And it's just
there's not a football fan out there in the world that hasn't been affected.
No.
There is not a football fan out there that hasn't been affected, and what it does, it's actually far-reaching because it makes us think about our own mortality, about who we are. I'm 55. I never had the career he did. I mean, not many footballers are lucky enough to be that good. But what it does, it makes you think about who you are and about what he had. Everything. Think about this. He was married less than 2 weeks ago. He had a beautiful wife with 3 beautiful children. He's a Premier League winner. He's going into next season with an unbelievable, funny I would say, but an unbelievable squad. How much would he looking forward? He's just been the UEFA Nations League win. He's lifted a trophy for Portugal, going to the World Cup. This is all right at his fingertips, and within a blink of an eye, it's taken. And this can happen to anyone listening to this now, this is how precious life is, and it makes us all think about our own mortality.
Bill, I want to ask you about him as a player. The moments that you've shared, obviously you're a Liverpool fan. There must be some moments that he's achieved that you remember so highly.
Yeah, I mean, whenever he was on the pitch, 100% commitment, effort. He's known amongst Liverpool fans as probably the best finisher that we've had since probably Robbie Fowler. Left foot, right foot, good in the air. He had that kind of edge to him as well. He played with his heart on his sleeve, and he was a great team man. You didn't see any kind of complaints when he wasn't starting. He would hum on. He suffered a couple of injuries, and obviously last year he was a bit up and down. But you see the kind of tributes today from people that knew him and from supporters. He was just a special player. And you look at his song. His name is Diogo. Number 20. We won the 20th title last year with Diogo, Jota, our number 20. And I think they probably will retire the number 20 shirt. I know that's something that some fans don't like in sport, but I think his memory will be immortalised. And as a club, I think we do those things well. But hats off to every single football fan today with the tributes that they paid. He was a special player. But beyond that, he was obviously a wonderful father, husband, son. It's just heartbreaking. Yeah.
Billy, thanks for your call. If you want to have your say and you want to pay tribute to the fantastic player, Diogo Jota, who sadly passed away today, give us a call on 03717 22 33 44. Yeah, you're listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT. Me, Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. We're reacting to the news that Liverpool forward Diogo Jota has tragically passed away at the age of 28 earlier today. Liverpool and football fans, if you want to come on and pay tribute to the great man, give us a call 03717 223344. Before we do that, England legend Stuart Pearce joined White and Jordan earlier today and spoke about how the death of a teammate can affect the dressing room.
Probably my experience going back, I was on the coaching staff at Manchester City. It's probably the best way to liken it. And Mark Vivian Foe was one of our players and lost his life on a football pitch. And the impact that had around the football club, in the dressing room, with teammates, is just immense, you know. And Liverpool have probably had one of the biggest highs that they've had, winning the Premier League this summer. And then obviously the traffic incident at the celebrations, followed by this as well. The highs and lows of life, if you like, are there for all to see in many ways. And listen, I don't think, I never knew Diogo. I've never met him before, but the impact it sort of had for everybody, the state of shock is quite incredible, you know, because of his age, because he was in his prime, because of his brother being with him at the time as well. You know, two members from the same family. It's just horrific.
Yeah, it's obviously very sad, terrible news, and affecting everyone. And me and Jace were just talking about it in the break. Jace, you know, we're not Liverpool fans, but I think the shock and everyone's had from it today shows that, you know, football is a community, and, you know, we're all fans, and, you know, we want teams to lose, and we want you to beat, you know, Liverpool when you play against them, but you appreciate the players that you watch, and you get to grace a football pitch, and we're lucky enough to have the Premier League and all these great players in it, and he was one of them. And when you lose that, and you lose someone of that stature, it really does actually.
It's part of my life.
Yeah, it affects you.
He is part of our life. You know, as we work in this industry, we watch him play, we analyse what he does, we talk about it, we praise him, you know, whatever happened, his injuries, whatever it might be, the goals he scores with the head, you know, that he's part of our working life.
Yeah.
And the fact that he is, you know, footballers come and go, of course they do, but, you know, the fact that it's been snatched away the way he has, and in such tragic circumstances, not just that, the fact he was married days ago, the fact he lost his life with his brother, I mean, oh my gosh, I mean, it's unimaginable what we're talking about now. Unimaginable. And, we're lucky enough to talk about players that have the ability to do what he does and come off the bench and score winners. I saw today on social media the last goal he scored was in the Merseyside derby against Everton, the winner. You know, you think that that's the last goal that's it. And
yeah, it's tough. Let's go to Paul. He's a Liverpool fan. All right, Paul.
Hi guys, okay?
Yeah. Paul, obviously terrible news today.
Commiserations, Paul. I'm so sorry, mate.
Liverpool fans, obviously, it's killing you the most.
Yeah, guys, listen, I mean, I've spoke to you guys all year. You know, we've had a good laugh and a joke, and I can just say talkSPORT's done a fantastic job today over just covering the full spectrum of, one, getting us the news as to what had happened, but also speaking to people that obviously knew him or didn't know him, but, you know, knew him as a player. I think it's just hit people so many different ways, because, you know, he had 3 young kids. He got married 10 days ago. You know, when he's a poor mum, he's lost 2 sons. Yeah. You know, that's that. You know, I mean, I just can't even. You know, I've got a brother who's 2 years younger than me, and the impact on the family you know, it's just incredible. And I think, you know, on the other side, Jason's mentioned as a player, he was, and someone mentioned it earlier, he was an honest player.
Yeah.
You know, he never moaned. He used to come off the bench. When he had to come off the bench, he didn't like coming off, but he had a little shrug of his shoulders, but he just get on with it. He came in that year when Salah went to the Africa Cup of Nations, and he scored a hell of a load of goals. Do you remember the goal against Chelsea, Jason, when he skipped through like 4 or 5 players and he slotted it in?
I do. It went through the centre of the penalty box.
Right through the middle.
Yeah, I do. Yes, unfortunately, I do. Yes, I do.
It's just impacted everyone in some ways. And when I first heard that, I thought, oh, that's bad news. Then just crack on with their work, and then people just kept dropping messages. People that you hadn't spoke to for a while. But, you know, people I work in sports, and people who had worked in different careers and stuff just dropped messages. So it's just impactful, and it's just tragic. But you guys have done a fantastic job, and thanks for keeping to cover it. You know, it's important. I'm going to Anfield tomorrow. I've got a call with work. I'm gonna take a half day and then get over there. But thanks so much, guys, for what you've done. It's impressive.
Paul, appreciate your call, mate. Really nice to speak.
That call there, right? So Paul's a Liverpool fan, right? And he's gonna, he's feeling it. We all heard his voice. There's not a football fan out there right now that doesn't feel the same way that he does. I want to hear from Liverpool fans. I want to hear from football fans. There might be a goal. He mentioned the goal he scored against Chelsea. I want to hear from Chelsea fans. I want to hear from Everton fans. I want to hear from Liverpool, Man United fans. I want to hear from every single fan out there.
Yeah. Let's go to Gary. He's a Liverpool fan. All right, Gary.
Hi, lads. How you doing?
Yeah. Look, obviously, it's a tough one today, Gaz, for everyone.
I know. He was a generally nice bloke as well. Like, I relative that worked at the training ground and that, and knew him personally. And he said, he was a generally nice man to work from, one guy.
Yeah. I didn't know him, but obviously, as Jay said, we watch him, we study him, we analyse him, and I enjoyed watching him play. I enjoyed the way he played football. There's certain players, that are on a football pitch, and you just, I've been a footballer, and you just appreciate greatness. You appreciate the talent that someone's got and is giving to people and showcasing on the world stage, and it's heartbreaking because that's something that I loved as a footballer myself. When you have the ability to showcase a talent that you've got, and he was doing that for Liverpool at the highest level, and he's one of them people that you look at and you go, I don't know him, but I like him. I liked what he was about.
I'd like to do it all, lads. It's like if we're running the Liverpool family, would like put a request on for Liverpool to retire the number 20 shirt with respect.
Yeah.
Because to put the shirt on hold and mark respect to Diogo and his family. So he deserves at least that.
Yeah. Do you know what? Right, it's been said. I've listened to talkSPORT all day. There is no other news. There's no other news. No. And all day I've been listening to talkSPORT. Jim White today. I heard bits of Gab and Big Al and Jim White and the boys Stuart Pearce. They dealt with it so well. But the thing that struck me is how many other football fans have come out and spoke about this, because it doesn't happen. This does not happen. An international football player does not die at 28. And it transcends football now. There's been many sporting stars throughout the years that have died at tender age. This is not unique, but right now in English football, it feels unique. Yeah. I don't remember the last time this happened.
No,
I can't think of anything like it.
Antonio Reyes, I think maybe,
but not when he's playing in the Premier League. He's like our player. Yeah. Not a Chelsea fan. He's for this to happen, and then the circumstance with his brother. It's hard to kind of even.
No, it's hard. It is.
To comprehend.
You're right. He's
a Premier League player.
Yeah,
a Premier League footballer.
We're lucky enough to have him. He chose to come and play over.
Has died in his pomp. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen, Jay. And we've now got to deal with it. We're all dealing with this. I mean, look, Liverpool fans will feel it acutely more than we are. Let me tell you now, Liverpool fans, we're feeling it here. That the impact on what has happened today is absolutely hitting us, hitting the football world, but in the Premier League, wow, it's.
Let's go to Lee. He's a Liverpool fan, right, Lee?
Hello, lads. How you doing? You all right?
Hey, Lee.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah. It's been a tragic day, obviously, hasn't it? And I think so much of what I've heard is it kind of puts everything into place. Do you know what I mean? And you've just mentioned there, Jay. It transcends football, this, and it's very much a human story, and it's the loss of. He's a global. Let's face it, Liverpool are a global football club. He's known. Yeah. This guy's known around the world. He's playing for one of the very top teams in the world. 5 weeks ago, I was literally 15 feet away from him, and he had the trophy on the bus in front of me. Looking at. I've thought about it all day today. I was actually working this morning. I live 2 miles away from Anfield, and I was on a meeting, and my phone just started pinging. And I literally finished the meeting and looked at my phone, and I was in absolute disbelief and shock, as you can imagine. So yeah, I got ready. I put the little dog together with his scarf on, and we went and got some flowers, and I wrote a little card from my family to Diogo's family, and it's and actually, funnily enough, where I laid the flowers down, I turned round and looked up. We sit in the main stand at Anfield, actually, and I looked up exactly where we sit, and I thought, you just mentioned there he scored his last goal against Everton a couple of months ago, do you know what I mean? Pretty much sending us on our way to the title. He's literally at the pinnacle of his career and his life, and the poor kid's gone, and his brother's gone, and his parents have got to suffer, and like I say, there's hundreds of millions of Liverpool fans around the world. The city's gone into absolute top gear in respect of its response, you know. There's literally been thousands down there today. It's the biggest.
Lee, you obviously you got to watch him, right? You got to appreciate what he was as a footballer. You know, you say you live in Liverpool, you're around there, you see him.
I'm a season ticket older me, yeah.
Yeah, so you get you get to watch the boy play, so many times. And what just talk us through like him as a player and what he was about as a player.
Well, he was just, I think obviously Jurgen bought him for a reason, and he was replacing the previous front three of, he was breaking the front three up, wasn't he, of Mane, Salah and Firmino, and replacing that and bringing that next gen in, and he was the first signing of that new next gen strike force, and he signed him for a reason, obviously, because he was an absolute animal at Wolves, let's face it. And he came from nowhere and just appeared and was literally, I think, the best or one of the best strikers that season just before we bought him in the league. So what he brought to Anfield was he brought a smile, he brought zest, he brought hunger, he brought desire, he brought, whether it was 90 minutes or 8 minutes or 4 minutes, he'd give absolutely everything and left everything on the pitch and then walked off.
Yeah.
And he won everything. He won the FA Cup, the League Cup and the Premiership. And like I say, he's an elite club, a global sports star, and it's hit us. I've got friends in Portugal. Actually, they're destroyed. People in Portugal are destroyed by it as well. The shock of it, and it's trauma. That's what we're all suffering with trauma here. And like you say, if you've got a son or you've got a brother, or you're a football fan, and you thought you lost your striker today, and you can put yourself in that situation, then that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, it's affected everyone.
But what a player! I'm so glad that we had him. I'm so glad that he did what he did. We've had 20 teams that have won the title in this country. Liverpool have, and all of our teams are legends. And there's no reason why he won't be remembered in 100 years' time.
Yeah, no, he definitely will be. Lee, I really appreciate your call. Great tribute there to him. If you want to have your say on Diogo Jota, give us a call on 03717 22 3344. Yeah, you listen to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT. Me, Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. You're going to be joined by Adrian Durham to look ahead to the Lionesses' first game of the Women's Euros against France on Saturday. We've been reacting to the news that Liverpool forward Diogo Jota has tragically passed away at the age of 28 earlier today. Jota's former Wolves teammate Matt Jarvis joined talkSPORT earlier today and said that Jota will always be a hero to the club's fan base.
Numb, really, this morning when I see it. Couldn't really comprehend. Didn't think it was real, to be honest. Just incredibly sad. And as you say, with the Wolves fans, he's a hero to them. I think he's what he did when he come to the club in the Championship, got promoted with his goals, with his energy, with his directness. I think that's what put him apart within that Wolves squad, especially with the fans. I think that they all they could see was his directness. He was so sharp, so just able to drive straight towards the goal, using his paces. He wasn't much of a trickster, just go straight towards the goal. And his goals and assists were just pivotal in the way that they got themselves back up to the Premier League. But then following that, he just puts himself in such a high regard with everyone, not just on the football field, but just the way he was as a person, the way he was with the Wolves fans, with in and around teammates, staff, everybody. So it's absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's Matt Jarvis. I played with Matt, great lad, a very good player as well. And I can't imagine what it's like for teammates at the moment. Well, Van Dijk and people.
I mean, these boys are on holiday now, getting a well-deserved rests. Lots of them will be in different parts of the world and waking up. Some of them experiencing the news as it happened because wherever they are in the world. But I can't even put myself in those shoes. I can't even put myself in that position where a mate of mine has passed away that you work so hard to achieve so much and he's gone. And then everything that comes with that, with the loss of life of his brother and his family and his wife and his kids,
it's a shocker. Let's go to Matt. He's a Wolves fan. All right, Matt?
How you guys? Right, okay.
How are you, Matt? You good?
Yeah, not too bad. First of all, boys, I'd like to thank you guys at talkSPORT for being so humble. You've been bigging up the football community all day. I mean, I first listened about 9:30 this morning. I got back in my van and I caught pardon my French, but the arse end of a conversation of a Wolves player passing. I was thinking Steve Ball, I was thinking the worst. But then when I actually heard of it, it was Diogo Jota. It was a lot more recent. And it absolutely broke me. It absolutely broke me. And the fact that you've had all your sports people on today saying yourself about the football community coming together. But what you guys do, you bring the sports at talkSPORT. You do it great, not just the football community. And it's amazing what you guys do. All of your presenters today. It's been so humbling and it's been so great.
Do you know what it is, Matt? When the season starts, we're all rivals, right? We play against each other, we fight against each other in terms of wanting to beat each other. And me and Cundy will sit here at night and we'll dig people out and we'll have a laugh and we'll try and wind you up. But when there's a tragedy like this in the football world, whoever it is, whatever walk of life, you sit there and we all love football. We all appreciate great players.
One of the most thing, the greatest thing I saw today, and I know that Jason Cundy would absolutely despise this in any other time, but I saw a Wolves and Liverpool half and half scarf outside the Billy Wright statue today. And now you cannot say that is something that is I dislike half and half scarves, but that is one time that was just incredible.
Yeah.
And just all of you today have been incredible.
Matt,
you've been incredible.
Matt, just on him as a player at Wolves, because everyone talks about him at Liverpool because of what he's achieved and the success he had, but he was a hell of a player at Wolves as well. I remember watching; he was brilliant.
Yeah, it's new now. I'm from the Midlands, as you can tell. I work in Bristol now, and I've been working in Bath today. And I spoke to a Nottingham Forest fan today, and
And he's talking about new now, and the first thing I think about new now is that team, and you've got the 3-4-3, you've got Neves, Moutinho, you've got Johnny Otto, you've got Adama Traore, you've got Raul Jimenez, and then you've got Diogo Jota.
That's a great team.
What team that is, by the way.
What a team, mate! What a team.
Mendes put that together.
And do you know what I like the most as well is the fact that how Liverpool will call him Jota, but when he was at Wolves, he was Silva. And again, that's not the sort of thing that I've always been for. It's like you have your surname on the back. Do you know what I mean? You'd have Cundy, you'd have O'Hara, and but that's the sort of thing that's come into the game now, with especially with the Jordan Mendes thing. And it was Silva 18, and it was really good. It was. I mean, look what happened.
Yeah.
Look what Nuno did with that team, and it was incredible. He scored a hat trick for Wolves in the Europa League against Besiktas. Besiktas are a team. He scored a hat trick for Wolves against them. He was a player, mate. He was a player.
He was a top player. Matt, I really appreciate your call. Thank you for coming on. Let's go to Tony. He's a Spurs fan. All right, Tony?
Hello, Jamie. Hello.
Hi,
Hello, Jason.
Hi, Tony.
Yeah, it's a sombre day today. I was listening to it on the radio and put it on Facebook, and it's really, really sad. And just now and here, Jamie, what you said about when you and Jason come on the show and wind people up and all that. I think what you said, you've hit the nail on the head. Like every time I know whoever it is, Tottenham play Arsenal or West Ham or Tottenham, everyone should communicate together. And I think after the game, I think all sets of fans should both go out together and console each other and say, well done, well done. But in this day and age, it doesn't happen, does it?
No, and I don't think it should. I think today is a day of reflection. Today, I think, makes us look inward at who we are. I think this transcends football. This is something that, and we never want to lose that. The rivalry is what makes football great. What's happened today, I think we all become.
I'm a bit choked up there, sorry.
No, I get that, Tone. I get that. But I think what today's done, it makes us all realise that we're all football fans, and it doesn't matter who you support, we're all affected. Look, acutely, Liverpool will be more affected by this, right? Understandably so. But when I met Jay earlier today, and we messaged him. The only news, the only thing, it affected us, every football fan listening to this. There's no other. It's about what happened, the tragedy that happened to a footballer.
Yeah.
Take away the badge, take away played for, because that's always going to be important. But it's how it's affected football fans. This could have happened to anyone, and I'm listening, and I'm saying to anyone because from what we understand, it was the tyre blew out, and it's happened to me.
Sorry, Jason, I'll just say my heart goes out to Diego and his brother, his wife, his parents, and my heart goes out to all the Liverpool fans. I'm saying this as a Tottenham fan. All my hearts go to everyone in Liverpool. And on Sunday, I'm a Catholic. I go to church, and I'll be lighting candles for the people in Liverpool.
Thank you, Tone. Yeah. It's obviously affected. Look, Jace, we know we've been saying it and we've been talking about it all day. It really has affected the football world. It's hard. And as you said, it can happen to anyone. There's a car accident, tyre blows out. It's just like it scares the life out of you. It really does.
It does. But it's a great point that he makes there about Liverpool fans will feel this more than any of us. But just to let them know.
We're all feeling it.
We've all been impacted.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, all day, I'm thinking about him, thinking about his family, thinking about his kids, and I've got my eldest is 30, right, not too far away from Diego, right?
Yeah.
My middle boy James, who's back from Australia now, is 25, not too far away from the age of his Andre, his brother. I've got young. This could have happened to my two boys.
No.
So the human level extends beyond football for me.
Yeah.
That But then the fact that it comes back, because it's my world, football,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
it brings it home in sharp focus.
Keep your calls coming in. You want to pay some tributes to the amazing player Diogo Jota, who sadly passed away today at the age of 28. Give us a call on 03 717 22 3344. You are listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT. Me, Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. We're going to be joined by Adrian Durham as we look ahead to the Lionesses' first game of the Women's Euros against France on Saturday. I'm sure he'll have his say on Diogo Jota as well. And Liverpool fans, football fans, we want to hear from you as the tributes pour in for Diogo Jota, who sadly passed away today. You can give us a call on 03 717 22 3344. Let's go to Paul, who's a Man City fan. All right, Paul?
Hey, Paul.
Hi, good evening, Jason. Good evening, Jamie.
Paul, obviously, you know, terrible news today, and you know they're a rival football club. You've been competing against them, you know, for a number of years. But I'm sure you're feeling it as much as Liverpool fans.
Absolutely devastated. I got the call from my wife this morning. I just arrived in work, just checking emails like you do, and the phone went, and I got the news that Diogo Jota had passed away in a car crash, and what? And then next minute, the managing director had just arrived. He just heard Alan and Gabby this morning when it broke, and I just couldn't get my head around it. It's just awful. Yeah, like you say, rivalry. It goes out the window if something like this happens. It doesn't matter. This is it. It's absolutely terrible. It's just so heartbreaking. And he was a wonderful player.
Yeah,
caused us a bit of grief over the years as well in between games. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know what to say. It's just. married. What was it? A week ago. Three young children. It's just it's. I don't know. And there was one thing I did see as well. Going back to rivalries, there was a picture outside Anfield mid-morning, and the first thing I saw was a Man United scarf laid out straight across the middle. So that really just tells you everything you need to know. A super player, super player. The football community, things like this, we come together, don't we?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. It's look. We want to talk about him as in the shining light that he has and the career that he's had, and But it's also nice to hear other fans. Not just Liverpool fans. I've got a full switchboard here of all different types of fans from different teams, and it's nice, Jace. When you think about it, and as we said, terrible news, but it transcends across the whole of the football world, and. Yeah, it's just a difficult one to take for everyone. It really has affected all of us today here at talkSPORT. Paul, thanks for your call. I'm going to go to Clobby. He's a Liverpool fan. All right, Clobby.
Hi, mate.
Hi, Clobby.
Clobby, how are you?
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. This morning I woke up and I was getting all these text messages and I was wondering, hang on a minute, football season hasn't started yet. And then I was walking down the path to go to work, and then I just thought, right, let me just see what's going on. And I just stopped in my tracks, and tears came down my eyes. I mean, I was just so devastated. But what I was going to say, and I said to one of you guys, that it just shows, it takes the football world to show what the world could do in one day, which is to show love to one another, even though of different fan base, whatever. And the love that is coming out is just, it just shows the world that the football world is in a different class. We all come together. And as Liverpool fans, we're obviously absolutely devastated. I mean, I cannot imagine what's going through the players' minds at the moment. That's why we're getting all these memories back later in the evening, because everybody's just completely in shock. I've been in shock all day, basically. But it just goes to show, with all this stuff going around the world, that it shows that the football world is way ahead. It's just so uplifting. And also the fact that, I was just briefly listening to one of your colleagues before, and he said a really nice thing. He said, look, we've lost a great player, a great person, but it also reminds us that, we could go outside tomorrow morning and you just don't know what's going to happen. So before then, make sure that you show love to your partner, to your neighbours, everybody, and just show, what mankind can do when they put their minds to it, and that to remember that anything can happen to you. It doesn't matter. Life could be like a light. It's on, and the next minute's off. And that's what I was been thinking all day, really. I'm completely... I don't know how the players are going to cope when they get back. I mean, it's just...
I don't know.
It's just... I was speaking to somebody today, and I don't know how they're going to do it, because when you watch some of the YouTube backs, particularly with Konate, with the fun they had together and his smile, and it's just a loss that is, and a loss to his family as well. My heart is broken for his wife and his family, and it's just so sad.
Yeah.
But what can you say? I mean, Jurgen said the same thing. But what can you say? Life is just here 1 minute and you're gone the next minute.
It's a difficult one, Clobby, and I know you'll be hurt, and I know how much you love Liverpool and support and follow them all over the country, all over the world. So it's definitely going to be a painful one for Liverpool.
football rivalry will always exist, and it has to exist. And it probably, I hear him, and he makes a great point. But everyone is feeling Liverpool's pain right now. This is. I'm not going to say unprecedented. I can't think of the last time a player of this stature in this country died. I don't remember it. I don't, unless I'm being mistaken here. I can't remember a footballer in the prime that playing for one of the biggest clubs in the country losing his life. And this is it. It's trust me, Liverpool fans. There's lots of rivalry out there, right? And that's what makes football great. But right here, right now, honestly, I can't tell you how much it's affected. I was speaking to a friend of mine earlier saying, my whole day, I've got nothing on my mind, nothing on my mind, other than Diego Jota, his brother Andre, and their family, the extended family, plus also his wife and his 3 kids. Nothing else has mattered to my life today.
No.
Nothing.
No.
And that is the human level. It's
the human level, and it's the fact we've been there, Jace. We've been in them moments as a footballer. We've had the highs and the being in the team bonding and the dressing rooms. How are the players going to cope? Well,
you mentioned the players there. I just wonder now. I've had friends of mine that have died. Right, a friend of mine took his own life 4 or 5 years ago. It's hard. That's up close and these players, these shared a dressing room, they shared a journey. These boys went on a journey with not just Klopp. Klopp took them one place and took them others, but Slot this year was going to take them on another journey. They were going to improve. These boys now, I just wonder how they're going to approach this season. How do they feel? They're going to need huge support, and I'm sure, and I'm no doubt that Liverpool will have that covered for them.
Yeah.
But the fans, the outpouring of grief, that first day, there's going to be in the Premier League season.
It's going to be emotional.
As champions.
Yeah, it's going to be an emotional time for. I'm sure I'm sure they'll all stick together in the dressing room. That's for sure. They always do. That's why they were champions in the first place. But look, keep your calls coming in. We're going to get Adrian Durham to come on. He's going to look ahead to the Lionesses' first game at the Women's Euros. That's against France on Saturday. It's live on talkSPORT. I'm sure he's going to have his say on Diogo Jota. If you want to have your say, we're going to take him right up until midnight tonight. So if you want to pay tribute to the amazing player Diogo Jota, give us a call on 03717 22 3344.
News of Diogo Jota's death has prompted an outpouring of grief in Liverpool and around the world. As the day goes on, we're seeing more tributes from his teammates. Alexis McAllister says he can't believe it, adding, "I will always remember your smiles, your anger, your intelligence, your companionship, and everything that made you a person." Darwin Núñez says there are no words of comfort for so much pain, and his former manager Jurgen Klopp says, "This is a moment where I struggle. There must be a bigger purpose, but I can't see it." talkSPORT's Stuart Pearce has shared his similar experience from his time at Manchester City.
Mark Vivian Foe was one of our players and lost his life on a football pitch. And the impact that had around the football club, in the dressing room, with teammates, it is just immense.
Liverpool legend Danny Murphy expressed his sorrow at the news.
Heartbreaking. I was shocked, like all of us. We all love football, Jim, don't we? We all have a passion for it, whether winning, losing, who our team should sign. All seems to become a bit irrelevant. It puts things in perspective when you hear news like this. It's just absolutely heartbreaking for everybody concerned.
Gareth Roberts from Liverpool supporters group The Spirit of Shankly says Jota's effort and spirit endeared him to the Anfield faithful.
I think you could see that in the fact that, you know, his song was one of the ones that was sung the loudest and the longest every week on the cop. And that was because there was a bond there. That's because we saw something in him that, you know, was our spirit fed back to us almost.
But Jota didn't just make a mark at Liverpool, winning the FA Cup, League Cup and most recently the Premier League. He was much loved at Wolves, where he went from securing promotion from the Championship to playing in Europe with them. Former Wolves keeper Matt Mills remembers not just the player, but the man that he was.
I just looked on my phone there. I've got a picture of him with my little boy and his mates. I was outside Molineux. They'd just beaten Wolves. He saw me, and he hadn't seen me since he left. He comes over, takes time with my little boys and his mates, has photos, and that's a measure of the guy. He was an amazing person.
You can read all the tributes pouring in for Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva on our live blog at talksport.com.
Yeah, good evening. You are listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT. Me, Jamie O'Hara, and Jason Cundy. Now, all day on talkSPORT, we've been reacting to the tragic death of Liverpool forward Diogo Jota, who sadly passed away in a car accident earlier this morning.
Diogo Jota's got one back for Portugal.
Devastating news, even for us. I mean, it's like we lost somebody we knew for a long time. It's a month ago. We were Diogo was in the Portuguese national team who won the Nations League.
I'm completely numb. You know, I'm still shaking. You know, because just can't believe. You know,
Cristiano Ronaldo has just said, "Doesn't make any sense. Just now we were together in the national team. Just now you were married. To your family, to your wife and children, I send my condolences and wish them all the strength in the world. I know you will always be with them. Rest in peace, Diogo and Andre. We will miss you both."
Yeah, Liverpool forward Diogo Jota tragically died in an accident earlier today at the age of 28 alongside his brother Andre Silva. The accident occurred in the early hours of this morning. Spanish province of Zamora. He leaves behind 3 young children as well as his wife. He married just 11 days ago. Joining us now, talkSPORT's voice of live football, Adrian Durham. Right, Aid?
Yeah, I mean, what a tough day. I've been listening to the show for the last hour, and some of the calls you've had have kind of been heartbreaking, really. Some of the stories as well. And at the time, I was talking to my wife about it when I heard about it this morning, and I just said it makes no sense, and it still doesn't make any sense. It never will make any sense, but you know, it's just a tragedy. And the calls you've had reflect how football fans in this country feel about it, whoever they support.
Yeah, I've, like, you know, when you do shows like this and you see the outpouring of grief from football fans, you look at the switchboard and you ask people to phone up and pay tributes. You know, you've done it for 20 years here, and you got all different walks of life. All different football fans, not just Liverpool fans, all fans. But and it's nice to see that a football community can come together. There's so much rivalry, Aid. We know that, and we have that every week on talkSPORT. But it's just nice to see it. But look, Aid, you've done this show for a long time. You've done football for a long time. You've seen Diogo Jota throughout his whole career and commented on him and talk about him. You do live football week every week, and you know more about him than most. And seeing him play is just an unbelievable football player.
Yeah, the way I would describe it is that you've been saying that you didn't know him personally. We didn't know him, but we did know him because he's been on our radios. He's been on talkSPORT. He was on Match of the Day regularly. He played for the champions. He was a big part of Liverpool's title-winning campaign last season. This was a footballer who's been in and around the Premier League for a long time now. So he was part of our football family. He was part of our football weekend. He was part of our football season. And actually, he's one of those players nobody disliked.
No.
There was nobody had anything bad to say about Diogo Jota. Nobody grudged him that winner against Everton. There was a question mark about offside, but you're thinking, hang on a minute, have a look what Diogo Jota did for that goal. Sensational. So in many ways, we did know him, and I believe that strongly. And I can remember when the Wolves side under Nuno got to the quarterfinals of the Europa League in the COVID season. And I think that this was where Liverpool realised Diogo Jota was a truly top player. There was a game at Spurs, and Wolves went 1 down. They then went 2-1 down. They came back to win 3-2. Jota tapped in an equaliser. He then picked up a ball in his own half. He absolutely ruined Lucas Moura with a little volley that sent Lucas Moura completely the wrong way. And he's still in his own half. He then surges upfield. Serge Aurier, who's not a small man, bounced off him as he tried to challenge him. Diogo Jota might not have looked at it, but he was so strong. Davinson Sanchez couldn't get near him. He left Eric Dyer standing. He then played a perfect pass to Raul Jimenez to score the winner. That's from his own half, with strength, with skill, a bit of magic, bit of pace, dribbling, the right pass. If you go back and watch that goal, he may not have scored it, but he got the assist and he completely made that goal, turning a Spurs attack into a Wolves winner. A fantastic bit of football. He was sensational in that moment. And that was the moment I kind of woke up to what a brilliant footballer Diogo Jota was. And I wasn't surprised that he ended up at Liverpool. Wasn't surprised he ended up at a top club. Wasn't surprised that he ended up as a champion. And like I say, we did know him. We all have our memories of him. That Spurs moment where he set up that winner in an incredible game, fantastic game. That is the memory for me that sticks out of Diogo Jota on the pitch.
Ada, also, so clearly we've all been, we can't help it now. We follow social media, and I've been watching so many of his goals, the moments that he's had. But one thing that didn't surprise me when I saw some of his goals is how good he was in the air. And he is not a big lad. And that is difficult in the modern game. You think about the centre-halves, that we're talking, I mean, not always all the case, but the amount of goals that he scored. And when I was watching them, like, timing, that's the thing that, if you ask me, what is Diogo Jota, right? He didn't have Mohamed Salah's skill. He was a direct player. Travel with the ball at pace, was direct. But the thing that struck out to me, that really surprised me, is how good he was.
Absolutely. And there's something to be said about his strength there. And I don't think he looks like, a particularly strong player. It doesn't look like he's got muscles galore, like, say, an Adama Traore or his old teammate at Wolves. But when I watched that goal I'm just talking about, Raul Jimenez scored, Serge Aurier bouncing off him. I mean, he literally didn't move when Serge Aurier just bumped straight into him, trying to put him off. And that is pure strength. But you're right about the timing as well. And actually, some of these subtleties that we kind of take for granted when we're watching football, we're watching highlights, we're waiting for the goal to be scored, we're waiting for that moment. In the middle of all that, there's Diogo Jota, just as other players do, but Diogo Jota did it so well. And they're having that moment that kind of goes unnoticed, if you know what I mean. Exactly what you're talking about, Jace, where it's about the timing, it's about the strength. And without that moment from Diogo Jota, none of the other stuff goes on to happen. So I thought he was a crucial player for Liverpool. Coming in when you said before about Salah going off to the AFCON and Jota coming in, I think some people were surprised by the signing, but it didn't take too long for people to realise he's a top player.
No, he was, and it's a tragic loss. Hey, look, I've got to ask you about the Lionesses. They start the campaign against France this Saturday. It's live on talkSPORT, 8 p.m. They're going into it probably as one of the favourites.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. They probably are because they're the holders. I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not even totally sure they're going to get out the group.
Right.
The Netherlands haven't been getting too many good results, so they probably should be in the top two go through. So they should finish in the top two. But it's a horrible group. It's France, who England play on Saturday. And I think if England lose that or don't get the win, then that heaps the pressure on for the Netherlands game after that. It's then Wales in the third game in St Gallen. So I think this Saturday's game is absolutely crucial. We've got it live on talkSPORT. I'm here in Zurich right now where the game is going to be played. And I'm actually a little bit concerned because... I'll tell you why, because the England team have been a little bit streaky. So they lost at home to France recently. They won away to France recently. They beat Spain at home. They lost away to Spain. So they're capable of getting good results. And then Belgium, who've lost to Italy tonight, they went there and they were 3-0 down in half an hour. So in many respects, it's about which Lionesses team turns up on Saturday. And if they get it right and get off to the perfect start, then I'll feel more confident. But I'm a bit worried about that game on Saturday, I have to say.
Obviously, they've had some experienced players who are not part of the squad anymore. The new, fresh players coming in, who are we looking out for?
Well, we've got some good players still. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, the manager, Serena Wigman, is still convinced this is a top squad. And I would tend to agree with that. There's an area of weakness at centre-back, stroke left-back. We haven't got a left-footed left-back, which is a bit of a problem, and it could come back to haunt us in this tournament, I think. Georgia Stanway's just come back from injury in midfield, so that's an absolute bonus. Going forward, a lot might depend on Lauren James's fitness. I think she may come off the bench against France, and she will have an impact. She was excellent against Jamaica at the weekend in the build-up friendly, the last friendly. So Lauren James is the key. I think a lot of people think that if Lauren James has a really good tournament, and she is an exceptional footballer, then the Lionesses have a chance of going all the way. Can she play 90 minutes, though? That's a big problem. Is she just an impact player? And if she is just an impact player, does she come on after an hour? And does that mean that we've got an hour to hold on until she can have an impact? There's a few questions that need answering, and we won't know the answers to these questions until after the group stage.
Adi, you mentioned it's a tough group for England. It's also a tough group for the Welsh, of course. They've made their debut, of course, in a major tournament. Their game against England is the final group game. They must be so excited about this, but because it's a tough group, points can be taken off anyone. I'm guessing they feel that there's a slim chance, maybe half a chance, they can do something in this group.
Yeah, they shouldn't be underestimated. I mean, Sweden are a top side in women's football, and Wales have drawn twice with them this year. Up until they lost 4-1 at home to Italy a few weeks ago, they were drawing games, getting beaten narrowly. They were making themselves hard to beat. They weren't getting battered by teams. So there is some strength there to be reckoned with, and there's a lot of pride there as well. And the fan base may well make a noise. We know that from the Welsh men's team going to tournaments over the last few years. I think with Wales, we expect them to lose every game, okay? If, come that last game against England, they can get a result that prevents England going through, that will be like a success for Wales. It will. I mean, and they will be fired up to do it. Because make no mistake, some of those Welsh players, some of them are English-born, some of them probably think they're good enough to play for England, but they've been rejected over the years by the England setup, and they've gone off to play for Wales. They will be fired up for it. But we've got to remember, keep it in context, 20 years ago, Wales didn't even try to qualify for the tournaments. Then the next campaign for the Euros, they lost every single qualifier. They've come a long way in a short space of time, and their appearance at these Euros, Wales, should be absolutely celebrated. But they could hold the key to whoever gets into the top two. They could hold the key to who misses out from the three big teams, Holland, France and England.
Adrian Starr, mate, I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on.
Brilliant.
Great show, lads. Thank you very much.
Adrian Durham, their live football legend. The Lionesses start their Euros campaign against France this Saturday evening. It's at 8 p.m. It's live on talkSPORT. We're going to take more calls on the tributes coming in for Diogo Jota. If you want to have your say on the great man, give us a call 03 717 22 3344. You're listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT. Me, Jamie O'Hara, Jason Cundy. We're going to look at tomorrow's back pages a little bit later on in the show, but we're going to go back to the phone lines. Liverpool fans, football fans, you want to pay tribute to Diogo Jota, who sadly passed away today. Give us a call on 03717 223344. Let's go to Alex. He's a Wolves fan. All right, Alex?
Right, Al?
Oh, yeah, you're right, guys.
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, it's a tough day.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. Absolutely devastating news. Just recently got back from the Molineux. Just went to pay tribute, and I think you seeing the tribute there, seeing the tribute at Anfield, tributes all over the world, just shows what a fantastic guy he was. I mean, first of all, I just want to say what an incredible player he was. We absolutely loved him at the Wolves. Yeah. He was absolutely incredible. The minute he put on a Wolves shirt, we knew he was special. And he's given us some of our happiest times as Wolves fans. He took us to Europe. He scored in the quarter-final of the FA Cup against Man United to take us to Wembley. Like these are moments as Wolves fans will never forget. And I think the biggest thing for me as a Wolves fan is what we look for in a player is somebody who wears their heart on the sleeves, gives their all for the badge. And every time he stepped on the pitch with that badge, he was proud to wear the Wolves badge, and that means a lot to the fans at Wolves. I think that's really important.
Yeah, it's something that we all noticed as football fans about what he did, and he was unassuming and maybe, I don't know, underlooked, overlooked, however you want to describe it. But he was one of those players that you kind of knew what you were going to get from him. There was never going to be, he never sulked. He was on the bench. You know, he had injuries at Liverpool, right? At Wolves, he wasn't on the bench, but it was hard. When you get to Liverpool, it's a different level. And for him to start every single game was never going to happen. He had his injuries, but he never seemed... You get some players that can get moody, or you hear about want to move.
Yeah, want to get out. Yeah.
Yeah. I never got ever a hint.
No. It was
of
just
a rumour.
part of what they were doing.
Yeah, and Liverpool fans will be able to tell me, or probably back me up, that was the case, because you need players like that. And to say he's a squad player, that's not even fair. But the point I'm making is he had his injury problems at Liverpool and was out for quite a long time. But Ada just mentioned there during the AFCON how Diogo Jota stood up when Salah was away, you know, scoring some big goals. Always seemed to score big goals. But, you know, as a Wolves fan there, I'm you know, he started every week, but you've still got the same energy.
That was a great team as well that he played in, Alex, that Wolves side. We kind of forget how good that team was.
Absolutely, and I think part of that is why Wolves fans are so devastated at the news. Is Nuno had built almost a family around that team. There was a really ethos at the club of that family, and he was a big part of it. He was a special player. I think the other thing that has got to be said about him, obviously, as you've already said, we don't know him personally, but because we see him every week, we feel like we have that connection with him. But he was such an incredible person. He always had time for the fans. He did a lot for the Wolves Foundation, the charity. He just seemed like a real, genuine guy. He was obviously a big family man, which is just amazing. And obviously, it's so devastating for his wife and his poor children that it's happened. But I just think I'm happy to say that I'm back saying everything that any Wolves fan would say, but he really was an incredible player, but an incredible person as well.
Alex, thanks for your call. I appreciate it. Let's go to Carl. He's a Liverpool fan. Carl.
Hey, Carl.
Hi, guys. You all right?
Yeah.
Carl.
Yeah, Carl. Carl, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry, mate. We lost you. Go on. I mean, look, obviously it's a terrible day for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely devastated. I've got a 7-year-old boy who lives and breathes Liverpool like I do, and sort of dipped out of work today to go pick him up from school, and just trying to work out how to sort of explain it to him. And we've got sort of all the Liverpool channels, so you sort of watch all the behind the scenes things and everything like that with the players, and you just feel like you do know them, so it feels like a sort of family member. So it's just.
Me and Jace were saying it today, and obviously you watch them, we analyse them, we talk about them, and, but you put them on a pedestal. These people, these players, because of they're representing us on the football pitch, your fans, your club, and you think they're superhuman. They're like you think they're Superman. These players. As you said, your kids, you look up to him, you adore him, you idolise him, and then when something tragic happens, like what's happened today, you realise, it's just a human being, and it's just such sad news because it just hits you for six.
Yeah, absolutely. We've just got tickets this week for the first friendly at Anfield. I was sort of saying to my lad, like, it's going to be an emotional one. I think that one.
Yeah.
It's going to be something else. But the club always seem to deal with things like this in a really good way. So it's I'm sure they'll give him what he deserves.
And
the coverage on talkSPORT, like, I'm on the road a lot for work, and I've listened to it all day. It's been a real credit. It's been amazing. So
it's the only thing to talk about.
Carl. It's
nothing else matters really, does it? Today
there's been no other news, mate. There's been no other news, and you just said it there. We think footballers, and I'm guilty, and even though we've been footballers, I'm guilty. I hold Chelsea players, they're like superhuman. You said it there. We're more, they can do anything.
Yeah,
they're young, in their mid-20s. These boys can do anything. They score a goal, they let us down occasionally. When something like this happens, it's hard to comprehend. And like I said, it does make you think about your own mortality, about who we are, how fragile life is, how precious life is, and how quickly things can change. There's no guarantee tomorrow.
There's
no guarantee tomorrow, and that's a message for everyone. And I don't want to preach here, I don't want to get like that, but it does make you feel, hug your loved ones, tell them how much you love them, here today, gone to
when I heard it today, Jason, I sit there and I instantly thought about what I was like when I was 28, how I felt and how fit I was, and the life you have.
Feel 6'10" and bulletproof.
Yeah,
right?
Like you're playing in. I was at Fulham at the time, and you're just thinking, I'm on top of the world. My world's my oyster. I'm living my dream. I've got everything at my feet. I'm going in and training with fantastic players.
And that's how we see footballers now, right?
And
that's how they should be seen.
That's how they're seen. And then you realise that
they're just flesh and blood like us.
Yeah, just human
beings. That's who they are.
You think You think they're immortal. You do. You sit there. You look at these players, Spurs players. Harry Kane and Son, and you think what they do on a football pitch.
But what happened today? This could happen to anyone. I've had a burst. Spoke to you earlier. I've had a burst tire on the motorway.
Yeah.
Happened to me, right? And I veered into the centre lane, And had there been a car there, who knows what happened? I went and made it in the hard shell. This can happen. This is one of these tragic incidences that has resulted in two people in their prime of their life losing their life, and it's just.
It's a tough one. Let's go to Lorraine, who's an Arsenal fan. All right, Lorraine.
All right, Jamie. All right, Jason. First time
Lorraine.
caller.
Welcome.
That's all right. I just wish it was under better circumstances than this, but there you go. I was in my bedroom, on the phone to an hospital, and my dad come in and said to me, "Did you hear that Jota's just died?" I went, "You're joking," not literally meaning that, the shock.
No, of course.
It was a shock, and I said no, and I put talkSPORT on, and like everyone else, Jamie and Jason, you've done a marvellous job covering this. And my heart goes out to all Liverpool fans, the players, his family. To lose one son is bad enough, but to lose two, it's just tragic. There's, and he was just a brilliant player. He really was. Unless it was against Arsenal and any other club.
But you still appreciate it, though, don't you, Lorraine?
Yeah,
you appreciate
do. You do. And I've never met him. I don't know him. But you don't need to know a person to what kind of person he was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you could tell.
And then three little kids, man, crawling. He is sadly going to be missed. He really is. And like Jason said, this can happen to anybody. But I tell my dad every day that I love him because he's not a well person himself. And sometimes I can be overbearing, he says, with it. But life's just too short. And I know that by experience, Jamie and Jason, because I was seriously ill not long ago. And my dad thought he was losing me when I was put in a reduced coma for 3 weeks. And he got that phone call. And he thought it was a joke at first because he didn't expect that phone call. And I can, his family must be going through a terrible time. And to just be married not long ago, and I've seen all the pictures that he put on there of his wedding and that.
Yeah, no, it looks
and
amazing.
in his memory, you're going to think I'm sad now, Jason and Jamie, but I've actually put a picture of that on my profile picture in his memory. I know it's a sad thing to do. People think I'm sad, but it's my way of, words can't describe it. And this is when Jason's right, and you, Jamie, that this is the time the football community come together.
Lorraine, thanks for the call.
We all think it, Lorraine. We all feel it. We all feel it. Liverpool fans are going to be going through. One of my best mates a Liverpool fan, and I messaged him. What can you say? It's like and he was in. He messaged me. He said when he found out, he was in tears, and I understand that. But just said to him, I'm feeling it as well, mate. I'm feeling it as well, and it's a tough gig.
Yeah, it's a tough one to swallow at the moment. What I would say is, you look at his life, Joe. I've got all his stuff in front of me, and I know he's sadly lost his life at 28, and so young and so early to lose such an amazing life. But what a career he's had! What he achieved in a short space of time. You'd say, all the honours that he's had, not only on the football pitch but off it as well. With his young children, his beautiful wife, family that he's got. You say he's lived 3 lives in terms of what he's achieved already. And obviously he's lost it too early, but just look at the things that he's done and he's got. It's incredible what he's done as a football player, and his family would be so proud of him.
So proud, but it's snatched away in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And it's listen, we're a safe space, we're a forum here to come and talk about it. Any fan, you haven't got to be a Liverpool fan, any fan, because we're all feeling it right now.
Yeah, you can give us a call. We're going to continue taking them. 03 717 22 3344. listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT. Me, Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. We're going to do a midnight trivia a little bit later on if we can. 0371 722 3344 if you want to come on and pay tribute to Diogo Jota. I just have to say, all the Sports Bar listeners, the people that listen to talkSPORT, the amount of calls that we've had coming in, can't thank you enough, and just shows that the football community is so together in tragic circumstances, because the amount of calls that we had is unbelievable, really, and we'll try and get on as many of you as we can. Let's go to Matt, who's a Liverpool fan. Right, Matt?
Hey, Matt.
Hi, guys, you all right?
Yeah.
Commiserations, Matt. I know you guys have, I've got one of my best mates, a Liverpool fan. I know you guys are going through it right now.
Yeah, it's been a difficult one. I've been a Liverpool fan for 40 years. My old boss actually texted me this morning when I was on a work call and said he'd heard a rumour what had happened, and you think hopefully it's not true, but obviously turns out it is. And then again, listening to talkSPORT all day, reading all the tributes from players, fans, has been great. And then you sort of think you're coming to terms with it. And then my son come home from school. He's 14. He's doing his GCSE mocks at the moment, so he's not allowed his phone in school. And he just messaged me and said, "Dad, I can't believe what's happened." And he come in, he went upstairs, and I was shouting up and saying, "You all right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I went up, and he was literally in tears. He was just saying, "I can't believe it. I can't believe he's dead. I can't believe I'm not going to see him play football again." As one of your other callers said, we've got tickets to a few of the games coming up, and he's like, he literally just couldn't believe it.
Do you know what? It's so difficult because footballers are all our heroes, right? Even grown men, right? And it's a very strange scenario because we idolise, we do. That's who we are as football fans. We sing their name, we wear their shirts. I'm guilty, Jay's guilty. But a young kid, that must be so difficult to comprehend what's going on, to try and explain to your son. What's your son's name?
Jamie.
Right, to try and explain to Jamie that that's a tough gig. That's going to be hard for him to kind of cope and deal with. That one of his heroes, he's not going to see play again. And these are the little things I didn't think about until you just said this. To be honest with you, and that's a tough one as a parent.
Yeah. I said to him, it's a bit of a life lesson, really. In terms of, as everyone said, poor old Diego. Portugal have won the Nations League. Liverpool won the league. Got married. Probably some of the best times of his life. And then, like you guys said, this can happen literally weeks later. So I was just saying to my boy, it is a life lesson, mate, really. It's horrible, but these things happen.
Yeah. And I had the same thing today. My son messaged me. He was at school and said I couldn't believe it. And you instantly think about your own children, don't you? You instantly think about their safety and them growing up and driving cars.
It's happened to me. My two boys, 30 and 25, been in the car together. They're not dissimilar to these boys' ages. Same thing could have happened to me. Same thing. Tyre blows. Everyone's life changes forever.
Yeah. Let's go to Amma, who's a Liverpool fan. Right, Amma?
Hi, Amma.
Hi, Jamie, Jason. How you doing, lads? All right?
Yeah. Look, it's a tough one tonight. Obviously, we're all feeling it here.
Oh, it's been a terrible, terrible day. Or morning, honestly, it's been a horrible day. Just like to say sorry to his family, really, for their loss.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Unimaginable.
It's like Jason. I've got two lads similar ages, and it's just like goes through your head, doesn't it, Jason?
Yeah. First thing I thought when I see their ages, first thing I thought of my two boys. First thing I thought of.
Yeah, it's like it takes you back to like when Princess Diana passed away. Similar, you don't really know the person, but the impact it has on your life, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. There's certain things in life that you look at, and as we said, we didn't know him, but we kind of do because we sit here, we talk about him, we watch him. I said to Jace, probably watch him every week, live.
Every week.
Liverpool, we're always on a Monday, on a Saturday. we come in, we sit and watch him. We watch him Champions League.
It's part of our life.
Yeah.
Every week. Okay, Liverpool fans, but you and I, as doing the job we do, we've got to watch him. We've got to, he is part. How many times have we said the name Jota? How many times have we said that in the last five?
But you also watch the way he is as a person. You analyse because you want to know what he's about as a player, as a person, as a character in the dressing room. You don't know him personally, but you do. You do know him because you're analysing him. Behaviour. And as you said, his behaviour, the way he acts. He's on the bench, he's not playing. How's he reacting? What's his mentality
didn't he get
like?
Sent off against Spurs. I think in that crazy game, didn't he get sent off? Didn't he trip up?
Maybe.
A dog.
Yeah, I think he did, yeah.
He got sent off, didn't he?
He did get sent off, yeah.
That was harsh.
It was, yeah.
That was a harsh.
It was a harsh.
Second.
But it's just, when you sit there and you think about the things he's done, and, again, as I say, they played football, and the boy showcasing his talent at the highest level, and there's no better feeling. I sit here now with you, Jason. I love the job that we had, but me and you both sit there and we can, quite easily say that moment when you're out on a football pitch, showcasing your talent to the world, and people are standing there watching in awe of you.
Best job in the world.
It's the best job in the world. It's the best job in the world. It's the best feeling in the world to have. And the young boy who had that at his feet, and he's sadly lost that, and it's so heartbreaking to think about it. Emma, thanks for your call. Let's go to Colin. He's a Man United fan, all right, Cole?
Hi guys, you're all right. It's absolutely, as a football fan, Man United fan, and devastating news and condolences to Wolves and Liverpool fans. Now, but as human beings, we are programmed 100% to lose our parents, because it happens most of the time. We're also programmed 50% to lose our partner in one go or the other go. But we are never, ever programmed to lose our kids, and to lose both. My heart goes out to his mum and dad. To lose both is unbelievable. I can't believe I've got a son and a daughter. To lose either of them, and certainly both of them, would be absolutely devastating. So my heart goes out really to his mum and dad, and we should think about it. He was somebody's son.
Yeah, Colin, obviously you're a Man United fan, the biggest rivalry in the country, Liverpool, Man United, you'd say, in terms of what they've achieved as football clubs. And, obviously I'm sure you can, there's times when you wish you weren't playing, and, when he's top Man United and rolled you over, but you have to, you can appreciate how good of a player he was and what he had under the locker.
It was absolutely devastatingly good, unfortunately. But as I say, as a football fan, it goes out, and you really feel sorry for the lad, because he was a talent, and he was a talent when he was at Wolves. He was damn good at Wolves, and I think he improved, except for his few injuries. I think he obviously improved at Liverpool, so they'll be devastated as well for the new season coming up. But God bless them all, and I hope that everybody takes it the right way and looks forward rather than backwards.
Cole, thanks for your call. Let's go to Scott. He's a Liverpool fan. Scott?
Scotty.
Evening, lads. How are you?
Scott. Yeah, right, Scott. You got memories of Diogo Jota? Is he?
I've spoken to you many times, because I'm one of the lucky ones who manages to go home and away. And, I've been on here of an evening, some nights screaming down the phone to you after a big win, and he's played a massive part in it. And it's bizarre, and it's horrible in every way, shape or form. And even like today, mate, today's my birthday, and I've been away for a couple of days with work and my fellow area managers. We're getting ready to start our meeting this morning, and everyone's wishing me well. And then all of a sudden, I just see something come through on my phone, and I'm like, and then all of a sudden it starts eating up, and then you're seeing more and more of it, and then it comes through. And honest to God, boys, I just couldn't function. And to be fair, I'm working with Man United fans, Everton fans, but it was collective. Everyone was feeling it. And you come back then and you're like, you're trying to put the happy memories, what he's brought to me and to me fellow mates who I go to the game with, but then you're going, but he's leaving a wife and 3 young kids, and he's 28 years of age. Do you know what I mean? And, when you think about what he's achieved, you mentioned some stuff he's achieved, Jamie, before.
Yeah.
He's worked his backside off to get to where he's gone, and the icing on the cake. I was in that stadium 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. He was in front of me with with the Premier League trophy, and then, that was his lasting feat, if you like, on our pitch, was the trophy in his hand.
Yeah.
And it's just, God love the lad, and we called him Slaughter for a reason.
Yeah, Jota the Slaughter. My Liverpool mate says that Jota the Slaughter.
Yeah. It is, and that's what he was, because every time because he never got like little ankle knocks. He was always out for 6 weeks, but he'd come back, he'd work his nuts off, and he'd be back, and then it'd be like, brilliant, because he was so clinical in front of goal.
Yeah,
he'd give us so many brilliant memories, and but just
great in front of goal, wasn't he? Scott, I think about it, and Jason made a really good point at the start of the show. His aerial ability was great. He wasn't tall, but he got himself in really good areas. You know, and he would always find himself a bit of space in the box to get on the end of a cross, which, you know, is timing and talent, I guess. But in front of goal as well, he always, you know, you call him the slot because he always used to just roll him in the net, didn't he? He used to just sit the keeper down and he'd roll him the other way. And, you know, I used to love the way he played football.
Do you know what, Jay? You're right there, right? And, you know, the one it comes back to about, like, his mentality as well. When we were away at Ipswich first day of the season, and he missed an absolute sitter at 0-0, bang, 2 minutes later, boom, totally gone. We're 1-0 up. We go on and win the game 2-0. It was just that critical side of things of him, you know, and, you know, as you say, time's a bit of a healer. You know, we're already talking about things about how you want to, you know, the memory, can we get something up in and around the ground for what he's done? You know, it looks like tonight they've confirmed that the shirt will be retired, which I think is a bit of a thing.
Do you know what I was going to ask you that, Scott? That was my next question to you. There's been lots of callers all day talking about retiring that number 20 shirt because of the song, and we know exactly what it meant. So, and your thoughts on that? I know the emotions are incredibly raw, but because we're now talking about a squad game, and it's not retiring the number 9, which is a tough gig, especially at Liverpool. I just wonder, does it feel for you right now? It does, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I tell you why, Jay, as well, I think. And I know, again, you know, this is still raw for everyone. It's 24 hours ago when it happened. Yeah. But I just think the things that come with it, it's the 20th league title.
Yeah,
number 20. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of links to the number, and it just feels the right thing to do. And, you know, as much as you don't want to think too deep, for me, you know, footy for me, you know, it's the last thing on my mind at the minute. But come August, it's going to come back round again. Do you know what I mean? We'll be dead. You know, make sure we're doing stuff that he will be. Every song he'll be part of it, and every home in every away game. And that shit up in that changing room, Jay.
I hear you.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
it's quite cool, Scott.
He's been a pivotal part of what we've done.
Yeah. I think definitely they're going to retire that shirt. Make it an honorary thing.
It's so impactful on you know, not just Liverpool football fans, but Liverpool in particular. But it does feel the right thing right now. I know there's a knee-jerk reaction when the dust settles, but I've heard Liverpool fans all down talkSPORT. Retire the 20. Retire the 20. 20th title, his number, the song. Get rid. Just retire it.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to look at some back pages next. We might continue taking tributes. There's still a lot of people coming in who want to have their say. 03717 22 3344. You're listening to the Sports Bar on talkSPORT. Me, Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. We're going to continue taking calls. I have to say thank you to all the Sports Bar listeners who are coming in, who want to pay tribute to the amazing Diogo Jota, who sadly passed away today. We're going to do that after 12. We're going to do back pages now and bring in Jack Cunningham. Right, Jack?
Hey, Jack.
Yeah, you're right, lads. Tough evening, isn't it?
Yes, matey, it certainly is. And look, obviously the back pages are going to be filled with this story. And Cristiano Ronaldo is in the back page of the Sun, saying it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so Ronaldo, obviously too. We've seen numerous tributes, but Ronaldo posted, it doesn't make sense. Just now we were together in the national team. Just now you had got married. To your family, your wife and your children, I send my condolences and wish them all the strength in the world. I know you'll always be with them. Rest in peace, Diogo and Andre. We'll all miss you. And, you know, it's just sort of really sums it up. Ronaldo in the end played in Jota's last game, which was the Nations League final against Spain, which of course Portugal won. So Jota in the end won something in what turned out to be his final game of football, which is obviously just so sad. The whole thing's absolutely devastating, really. If you look at sort of how it happened, basically he had a lung operation and was advised by some doctors not to fly back to Liverpool to do the pre-season training. So he was driving to Granada to get a ferry back to Plymouth. And as far as we're aware, he went to, well, we don't know who was driving, but the car went to overtake and the tyre blew out. And then that was that. And I remember this morning sort of waking up, and we've got obviously the talkSPORT like live news chat, and we saw those reports from it, and I was just thinking, oh, I really hope this isn't true. Like, but you know, unfortunately it was. And I think what it shows is sort of how precious life is, I guess. You know, realistically, like
Jack,
in a flash can be gone. Yeah.
Obviously, it's an ever-growing story, and we're hearing more about the situation. But things that we do know that he had lung surgery, right? And he was, and the reason that he was driving back to, and he was getting the ferry instead of flying was because of health reason, right? I'm guessing. You know, I remember when I had surgery, and you're not meant to fly because of the altitude and being up high and the pressure. You can potentially cause blood clots, right? And that's so Liverpool advised him to drive, and that's why he took the opportunity to drive the 8 hours that he would think he was going to do to get on a ferry to go to Plymouth.
I don't think we know it was Liverpool, to be fair. I think at the moment we're still not sure who has said what, so hopefully, you know, we'll find out that eventually. But what we do know is... But
he got advised not to fly, right?
He got advised not to fly, and basically that was what happened. So from what I understand, he suffered an injury against Chelsea near the end of the season. You know, after I think it was the game after Liverpool had won the title already, and they went to Stamford Bridge, and he suffered an abdominal injury, and then had the surgery on his lungs essentially, and then was advised not to fly. So then that was why he was driving, and then of course, you know, it's turned into this, which is it's just horrific. It really is just absolutely horrific.
It's
I mean, the tributes are pouring in. Paul Joyce in the back page of the Times, the day football, you know, in devastation and disbelief, and that has been something that I've noticed over the course of the last since I woke up this morning. Starting off with, you know, Breakfast, White and Jordan, going through H&J, driving all and so on and so forth up to our show. That there is the impact this has had. Jack, has been. Yeah. I only speak to my own feelings. Honestly, it's something that's really, really affected us. I'll speak to Jay earlier. We've spoken nothing else. It's the impact and the wider football community. All the clubs have come out, fans as well. It feels unprecedented. I can't remember the last time an international footballer of his stature, Premier League winner, league title winner, in his pomp, playing in England, lost his life. I don't know who that person is. I don't know who that person is. It may have happened. I don't know.
No, the only one I can remember recently is Cristiano Ronaldo, obviously former Premier League player who died in the earthquake, and then Czech Jota when he went to China and had a heart attack. So they're the only ones who I can sort of remember off the top of my head. But certainly in terms of what you're saying, Premier League player in the prime, in the pomp. Yeah, I don't remember it either. I think what you're saying about the football community is absolutely spot on. I mean, people say, football doesn't matter what have you, but not many people know Diego Jota. And, we're all sitting here and we're all really emotional about it because, yes, we don't know him personally, but you do get to know him through watching him play football and the goals he scores and the way he goes on in interviews.
I know the footballer. Yeah. I can tell you about the footballer.
Yeah.
Someone's asked me about the football. I'll tell you who he is.
And you know about his character.
Yeah,
and who he is the way he conducts himself, the professionalism of him, the way he is on a football pitch, the way he is off a football pitch.
And it feels like you know him.
Yeah, we don't know the real him, what his family know and what his family know, but we know him on a
that's our job, right?
On a professional level.
And we talk about it, speak about it. We do this every single day of our lives, and you do analyse them. You do know. You're absolutely right. Mention the character. There's a certain character, and you could sum him up about what type of character you do, and then you hear people that do know him, and that character that I and Jay and you have seen on the field transcends beyond that. It would appear to be the type of person he is as well, which is everyone's saying he was not just a brilliant footballer, but just a brilliant human being.
I thought Arne Slot's, tribute to him was absolutely lovely, to be fair. I think that was really heartfelt and amazing. And one thing I was thinking about Jota was the goal he scored earlier this season against Everton, where he sort of slalomed his way through and then finished it. And that was like classic Diogo Jota. That was his thing. That was what he was good at. And I've been thinking about that all day. I'm not a Liverpool fan, but I've been thinking about that all day. It's that sort of thing. And it's just an absolutely horrendous situation. It really is. And I just send out the best to all. He's leaving 3 kids behind and a wife, and he got married 2 weeks ago. It's just horrific. It really is. Honestly,
obviously that is the huge story. There are some other stories. Just quickly on Wimbledon today. Draper. There's always next year. Jack, that's on the back page of the iSport. He got beat today.
Yeah, he got knocked out, Jack Draper. Yeah, it was pretty of a surprise playing Marin Cilic, who is a former Grand Slam winner and Wimbledon finalist. But Cilic has been injured for ages and basically been struggling with his knees and stuff. So I think most people thought Draper would win, being the number 4 seed in the world. But now Draper has been in 3 Wimbledons and he's not got past the second round yet. It's strange. And I think he was talking about it afterwards, and he's saying that he doesn't like how he's playing on grass. And he also said he really has much more respect for Andy Murray than he used to do, because the